Here are three frightening true horror stories set in the countryside, each with a unique and chilling twist. Story 1. The haunting of the old barn in a small rural town. There stood an old barn that had long been abandoned. The locals whispered about the strange noises that emanated from it at night, low moans and scratching, sounds that sent shivers down the spines of anyone who dared walk by. Intrigued by the rumors, a group of teenagers decided to explore the barn one summer night. Equipped with flashlights and bravado, they entered the barn, finding it filled with dust-covered tools and old hay bales. As they laughed and joked, a sudden chill filled the air. One of the boys stumbled upon an old journal tucked away in a crevice, its pages yellowed and brittle. It spoke of a farmer who had mysteriously vanished along with his family, leaving only the sounds of their last anguished cries. As they read aloud, the barn door slammed shut. Panic ensued as they attempted to leave, but the darkness seemed to thicken around them. The once faint moans grew louder, surrounding them as the atmosphere felt heavy with dread. They felt an invisible presence, and one by one, they began to hear whispers calling their names. The group ran, but the sounds chased them, echoing in their ears long after they escaped. Each teen later reported feeling watched for days, with one claiming he could still hear the farmer's cries in the dead of night. He'd never returned to that barn again, leaving it forever shrouded in mystery. Story 2. The Voice in the Woods in a secluded countryside. The family moved into an old farmhouse surrounded by dense woods. The kids were warned to stay out of the woods, so the locals spoke of a vengeful spirit haunting the area, woman who had lost her children and sought companionship. One day, the youngest child, a curious 8-year-old, wandered off into the forest, drawn by a soft, melodic voice calling her name. The girl followed the sound deeper into the woods, unaware of the danger. The voice was soothing and sweet, promising to show her a beautiful place. Hours passed, and when her family realized she was missing, they frantically searched the woods, calling her name, but all they found was an eerie silence. As night fell, desperation turned to fear. They eventually heard faint sobbing emanating from the trees. A search party gathered, and with each shout of the girl's name, the sobbing grew more intense. It sounded heartbreakingly close, but with every step towards it, the voice would fade, luring them further away. Just when they were about to give up hope, they spotted her standing near an old, gnarled tree, disoriented but unharmed. When asked who she had been talking to, the girl said, "A lady in the woods who wanted to play." From that day on, the family kept a closer watch on her, but every so often, they would hear a soft lullaby drifting through the trees late at night, as if the spirit was still seeking her out, still trying to lure another child into her grasp. Story 3. The Return of the Farmer. In an isolated village, the townsfolk spoke of a farmer named Samuel, who had mysteriously disappeared decades ago, leaving his sprawling fields untended. His land was rumored to be cursed, and many avoided it, claiming they could often see a figure wandering near the fence line at dusk. One evening, a group of thrill-seeking friends decided to explore Samuel's abandoned farm. As they approached, they felt an unsettling chill in the air. They spotted an old scarecrow, dressed in tattered clothes and with a haunting resemblance to Samuel. Ignoring their instincts, they ventured onto the property, laughing nervously at their own fear. As the sun began to set, they decided to investigate the dilapidated farmhouse. Inside, they found remnants of the past dusty furniture, covered with sheets, pictures of the family left behind, and an eerie feeling of being watched. Their laughter faded as the atmosphere grew heavier, and then one friend felt a cold hand on their shoulder. They spun around, but no one was there. Confused, they laughed it off, thinking it was just their nerves. However, the laughter quickly turned to panic when one friend screamed, claiming to see Samuel standing in the doorway, his eyes hollow and filled with despair. The group was paralyzed by fear as he raised a hand pointing towards the field. Desperate to escape, they fled from the farmhouse. But the once familiar path became a labyrinth of confusion, the land shifting beneath their feet. The specter appeared again, closer this time, and his anguished moan echoed through the night. They finally burst through the fence line back to the road, white with terror. Looking back, they saw the figure dissolve into the dusk, as if he had never existed. The friends never spoke of that night again, but they often felt an inexplicable pull towards the cursed land, as if Samuel's restless spirit still beckoned them to return. These stories blend elements of local folklore, the supernatural, and the unsettling feelings that can accompany rural isolation, tapping into a haunting blend of reality and fear.